in page number 86. First you have to study this table and you have to write the food items. Choose the food items related to these nutrients. The food items which contain these nutrients. You have to write. For example, carbohydrate. You know there are main food nutrients. Carbohydrate, protein, lipid, vitamin and minerals. You have to study this table. There are food items. So you have to write the food items which contain these nutrients. Carbohydrate. What are the food items? Here we can write string hoppers, bread and rice, noodles. String hoppers, bread, rice, noodles. You can choose the food items here and write it according to the nutrients. Okay. Here you have to write what are the food items contain protein. Here what are the food items contain lipids. Here vitamin and minerals. Here that is an example. You can creatively write these things. Okay. And you can do activity 17.2. There are some food containers in your home. There are some food containers. So there are some labels. So study the labels of these food containers. They have mentioned the nutrients contained in the food. They have mentioned in the label what are the nutrients contained in that food. So you can study. You can study those labels and tabulate what are the nutrients in that food item. Okay. Write it as an assignment. Okay. Most of the food items rich in different nutrients, not only one nutrient. Dal. Think about dal. So it contains carbohydrates, proteins and minerals, different nutrients. And we can take an egg. So an egg contains proteins, lipids, vitamins and minerals. Then milk. Milk contains lipids, proteins and minerals. Likewise, most of the food contain different types of nutrients. Until now, we discussed about the 5 main nutrients: carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, vitamin and minerals. So rather than that nutrients, we need fiber and water for our meal. For the functions of our body, we need fiber and water. Okay. Now we are going to talk about fiber. Fiber. Fibrous nature food. Fibrous nature. अब केंद्र सहित आहार. Okay. What are the foods? Unpolished food. Unpolished one. Mostly whole grain. Whole grain rice. Whole grain wheat. Whole grain wheat means you can say आटा पिटी के लगे and whole grain rice we can take red rice with the whole grain unpolished one. Then fruits. What are the fruits which contain fiber? Mostly banana, mango, umbrella, pawpaw, these types of fruits. Then vegetables. Kohila and loofah, carrots, these types of vegetables we can take, and also beans, drumsticks. These are the vegetables rich in fiber. And cereals, grains, whole grains. That means unpolished one. So what are the advantages of taking this fibrous food? Reduce the absorption of fat and sugar. Reduce the absorption of fat and sugar. So it is an advantage. And also we can prevent constipation and piles. What is the meaning of constipation? Constipation means malabadya. Then piles. Piles mean ulcers. So we can prevent from these types of diseases by getting more fibrous food to your meal. The last one and very important thing to our body, our life, to our diet, that is what? That is water. Okay, we should drink enough amount of water to maintain good health. So it mainly cool the body surface, cool our body, and supply medium for cellular functions, cellular reactions. All the cellular reactions are take place in a watery media. So we need water. Then we remove excreted products efficiently and prevent constipation. You know what is constipation? Prevent from constipation. Okay. Now you know what are the main things should be added to your diet. In a diet, carbohydrate, proteins, lipids, vitamins, minerals, and what are the other two? Fibrous things and water. These things should be added to your diet. So it will be help to maintain a healthy body. Let's discuss tests to identify food. You know, there are different types of nutrients in the food. So, there are some simple tests to identify whether there is carbohydrate, whether there is protein or lipid. There are some tests. So, these are the tests we are going to discuss today. Okay, glucose test and starch test. You know, glucose and starch mean carbohydrate. So, in the food, we can see carbohydrates as glucose and also starch. Glucose means simple sugar. Glucose means simple sugar. Then starch. Starch means PT. Then, so there are some tests to identify whether there is glucose, whether there is starch in that food. And also we are going to discuss protein test and lipid test. Okay, let's discuss one by one. First test, that is simple sugar test, that means glucose test. Here we need a test tube. This is the test tube and we have to make a glucose solution. Glucose solution. We have to add 2 milliliters of glucose solution. Then we have to take Benedict solution. 2 milliliter of Benedict solution that we have to add. Normally glucose solution is colorless one. Then Benedict solution, it is in blue color. It is blue in color, Benedict solution. So when we add these two liquids, we can see blue color. Then we have to heat it using a water bar, or otherwise we can use a Bunsen burner. We can use a Bunsen burner, otherwise we can heat it using a water bath. Then look at the color change. First it is in blue in color. So then when while heating it becomes to green color. Then yellow color. Then orange color. And lastly we can see a big red precipitate. Brick red precipitate. What is brick red? What is meaning of brick red? That means gadol ratu paata. Precipitate means avakshepaya. අපිට දකින්න හම්බ වෙනවා අන්තිමට. At last we can see brick red precipitate. අපිට අන්තිමට දකින්න හම්බ වෙනවා gadol ratu paata avakshepaya. So then we can identify that is glucose. Okay. Next one, starch test. Starch means pishtel, pishtel. So here we need a test tube. As previously we need a test tube and add some flour, some kind of flour to it. It can be rice flour or wheat flour or otherwise potato flour. We can add. Then add little amount of water and boil it. Add some water and boil it. Then we have to take iodine solution. Iodine. It is in yellow brown in color. Yellow brown in color. We have to add drops of iodine solution into this boiled flour solution. Then we can see the color change into purple blue in color. Purple blue color. So color change is purple blue color. Then we can identify there is starch. Starch in that food. Okay. Next one, protein test. We call it as biurate test. What is biurate test? So here we need a test tube and we have to take an egg white. So you know when we take an egg there are mainly two parts, egg yolk and egg white. So this egg yolk contains mostly lipids and minerals, and egg white contains mostly proteins. Proteins containing egg white. So here we need only egg white. So we have to take an egg white and put some water and make a solution. Dissolve this egg white in the water and make a solution. Then add 2 milliliters of this solution, egg white solution, to the test tube. Add 2 milliliters of egg white solution. Then we have to add 2 milliliters of sodium hydroxide solution. It is mostly a colorless solution. Sodium hydroxide we have to add. Then few drops of copper sulfate solution. We have to add few drops of copper sulfate solution, that is blue in color. So we can see the solution turned into purple color. We can see the solution turned into purple color. That means we can identify there is proteins. Lipid test. So this is very easy test. So you can do it at home also. Here we need a food that contains lipid. A food that contains lipid. We can take a cheese or some meat we can take. Then we can take a white sheet. So rub the food on a piece of paper. That means we can rub that food on the white sheet. So then we can observe translucent oily patch on the paper. We can observe translucent oily patch on the paper. That means that food contains lipid. Okay? You can do it at home. We have discussed 4 types of tests. So you have to remember what are those tests, and you have to remember the color changes. Okay, let's go to another section.